Hey guys, in today's video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my Jeep Cherokee KL, some of the things I like about it, some of the things I don't like about it, and all the problems that I've had with it so far. If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Now, right off the bat, this shirt is way too bright. Oh my God, that's bright. So, I am currently driving my, well, I guess I should say my wife's 2015 Jeep Cherokee KL. This model here specifically is the Latitude model, and it has the 3.2 liter Pentastar V6. Now, this specific model is four-wheel drive. I'll cover more about that in just a little bit, but I wanted to start with some of the good things that I do really like about this car. This model has the winter package. I like the heated seats. I like the heated steering wheel. Honestly, we live in the desert where it does not get that cold, but it's really nice after a long day to be able to get in the car and turn on the heated seats. It feels amazing on my back, and now I'm a little bit spoiled, and I think the next vehicle I get for me, it's gonna have to have heated seats. It also has remote start, and it's nice to be able to warm it up in the winter, but it's even better to be able to remote start this thing in the summer and let the air come on before you have to get in the hot car. I live in the desert, in the middle of the desert. It is easily 100 plus in the summer. I think today it's 97 according to the dash on my car. Now, something else that I really like about this vehicle is all the storage space. Now, I'm not talking about the amount of space in the back. I mean, there are cubbies everywhere. I feel like when they put this together, they were like, I want no wasted space whatsoever. So they decided to put cubbies everywhere. I especially like the cubby underneath the passenger seat. It's perfect to just slap something in there. It's perfect for all sorts of things. It's a really nice place to stick like your pocket knives or nail clippers or sorts of things. And you can stick it right underneath the passenger seat, go into the bank or wherever you need to go, come back out, and you can put it back in your pockets. Now, something else I like about this vehicle is it has no lack for power. It actually runs really well when it wants to. And I've got plenty of power coming out of my V6, and when I step on the gas and I need to pass somebody, it puts plenty of power to the ground so I can pass them as quickly and safely as possible. Now, because this does have the V6, it doesn't get the best mileage, but the mileage isn't terrible like you would expect from any other Jeep. The current average fuel economy, according to my dash, is about 20 miles to the gallon. Now, that doesn't sound that high, but considering since the last time that this was reset, it's been doing a lot of school traffic. School traffic is the absolute worst. I don't know what it is about dropping kids off at school and picking them up that brings out the absolute worst drivers in America. It is terrible. And I know everybody feels this way, which means everybody's bad at it, which means I gotta be bad at it too. So 20 miles to the gallon, I am extremely happy with that result. Now, before I get into my off-road experience in this Jeep, I do want to cover some things I do not like about this Jeep, as well as some problems that I've had to fix. So when I bought this Jeep, it did have a few miles on it. It was not brand new. I got it last year, obviously, so by then it was already quite a few years old. But the day that I bought it, we drove it home about 100 miles, and when I got home, I could already hear ticking from the engine, which is a very common problem in all the Pentastar engines. Honestly, I feel like all the 3.2s and all the 3.6 Pentastar V6s are going to need rockers and cams. It's just the way it is. Eventually, they're going to wear out, and you're going to have to replace them, and that's exactly what I had to do. Now, I was able to do everything in my garage. I pretty much do all of my own work on my vehicles, so the cost wasn't that bad. I know I was into it about $600 overall, replaced the cam, all the rockers, That included all my fluids. Obviously, I'm not going to get my time back, but that's fine. Save myself a few dollars, and for the price that I got the Jeep in the first place, I was happy to do the work. Now, another problem I keep running into is injector problems. I had heard that injector problems were common, but I did not realize that it was this bad. I have replaced 4 injectors in my V6 engine, which means there's only 2 left. But one of them was a warranty, so I will call it there are 3 left that need replaced still. So if you find out you need some injectors, do yourself a favor, replace them all at once, and save yourself some hassle. So I've talked a little bit about the good, a little bit about what I've had to work on this thing, and let's go ahead and talk about the things that I just plain don't like about this Jeep. So the first thing I don't like about this Jeep is the automatic back hatch. The back hatch opens and closes by itself. You just push a button. It seems like a nice luxury item, but really it is just the source of any problems to come, because it's not a perfect system. Electronic things break, they wear out, and eventually that's not going to open by itself anymore. From time to time, I'll go to open it and it won't open by itself, which is extremely frustrating because it should work, right? Push the button on the remote, it should open up. My hands are full, it should be open, I can set stuff in, but it would just be better if it was 100% manual. That way I don't have any disappointment when it doesn't work. Something it just did here recently was on the first day of school for my son, my wife opened up the back hatch, went to go close it. It would not shut by itself, and it would not latch because the latch mechanism is also electronic and it's automatic. What do? You drive around with the back hatch unlatched? Anyway, we were able to get it latched and it hasn't happened again, but that's a frustrating thing, and that's kind of scary, you know? How do you lock your car? You can't just leave it either. If the back hatch won't latch, you can't lock your car. Now, the thing that I dislike the most about this Jeep is whenever any work needs done to the engine, immediately the upper intake has to come off. Spark plugs, coils, injectors, immediately the upper intake has to come off. And it's not just a quick, simple thing to do, and it's all plastic, which means the more times it has to come off, the more chances of that plastic piece cracking. And I don't know, plastic just does not belong on an engine whatsoever, in my opinion. Plastic doesn't belong on an engine. It's as simple as that. Now, my least favorite feature on this Jeep Cherokee is the auto start-stop system. Now, if you're not familiar with an auto start-stop system, how it works is when you're in a vehicle and you come to a complete stop at a stop sign or a stoplight, it will actually shut the engine of the vehicle off, and that's to allow for better fuel economy. And I mean that's just pretty much it, right? They say it's less wear and tear on the vehicle than idling, but I don't believe that, because that's 10 times the strain on your starter. Also, every time it shuts off and starts back up again, it has to try to recirculate the oil. And if you stop circulating your oil and then immediately try to get it to start again, it's not a perfect system, which is just going to cause more wear and tear on the engine, which is going to affect things like cams and rockers and lifters, which makes sense, right? Anyway, it is nice that you can just push a button and make it go away, but you have to push that button every time you start the Jeep to get it to turn off. That way it doesn't do that annoying shut off, start back up when you push on the gas. Now, I feel like auto start stop is unsafe. So how often, if you're in traffic, do you pull up to a stop sign, you see a gap, and you gun it? Well, with the auto start stop, you step on the gas, there is a short delay. It's just a split second, but you have to wait for the car to start back up before it'll go. And by the time that happens, accident waiting to happen. And I know everybody's going to be like, well, you shouldn't drive that way. Come on, check it out. Traffic's a thing. People speed. Sometimes you just got to put yourself out there. Otherwise, you ain't ever going to go anywhere. And I honestly believe that the auto start stop is dangerous. It is an unsafe feature for any vehicle. All right, so I covered things that I like, I covered things that I've had to fix, and I've covered what I don't like about it. Now I want to talk about the off-road capability. This particular model has the hill descent control. I've played with it a little bit. I actually really like it. If you're on a steep incline going downhill, you can push that button and it will regulate the vehicle's speed to keep you from having to be hard on the brakes the whole time. It just kind of sets it up and you just cruise down the hill. And I think that's a really cool feature. But at the same time, the more electronic features you put in, the more likely it's gonna break. Now, I haven't driven this thing through mud because it's my wife's vehicle and I want to keep it nice, but I have done a fair bit of off-roading in it. Here a while back, there was a hard road closure right in the path that I needed to go, and I was able to hop off-road and take a nice route. It was off camber, it was low traction, there was sand, and this thing performed extremely well, and it surprised me. I have never been more shocked about the off-road capability of a vehicle than this one right here. I was thoroughly impressed how it handled through the snow this last year. This last year in California, we had snowstorms in places that haven't seen snow in years. And it was really crazy, and this thing really performed great. It's got a snow mode. You put it in a snow mode. My wife asked me if she should go to work or not, and I'm like, I don't care. You got a car for it. She hops in her car, puts it in snow mode, and drove all the way to work, only to find out that they were going to be closed for the day, and turned around and drove all the way back. But she was extremely confident driving this thing in the snow because it just handled the snow so well. Me personally, I've driven it through the sand. Now, sand is a completely different animal, and it also depends on where you're at. We don't get the dune sand, we just get like the bottom of a wash sand, if you know what I mean. And this thing has performed extremely well in the sand. I cannot believe it. And it still has street tires on it that were installed at the dealership that I bought it from. Now, as far as climbing, there's this one spot I always take vehicles to test their climbing ability, and I wanted to go there today so I could show you, but I just don't have the time to drive all the way out there because I gotta head home here in a little bit. But I can tell you that climbing was a shocker as well. Now, I did have a little bit of traction issues because it is climbing a sandy hill, but once again, I'm saying that's the tires and that's not the Jeep. Either way, I made it up to the top perfectly fine, and my boys were with me and they giggled like crazy. And if they're enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. Overall, with all the problems that I've had with this, the question is, would I buy this again? And the answer is yes, in a heartbeat. I love this thing. It does great off-road. It does great on-road. I can fit my kids in the back of it, fit all my junk in there. We can take it camping. It just is an all-around good multi-purpose vehicle. And it's a Jeep. And I know that a lot of people are kind of getting away from Jeep over the years because of how much things are changing. And I know that everybody hated the Cherokee KL when it came out because it wasn't a, quote, real Cherokee. But honestly, I couldn't be happier with this Jeep. It serves its purpose. It does it well. No, it is not a rugged vehicle whatsoever, but it does the job that it was designed to do. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's going to be it for this video. You can check me out on Instagram at It's Project Venture, as well as the Tickety Talk at It's Project Venture. If you haven't already seen my community post, I've decided to start uploading every 2 weeks instead of every week for the time being. School just started. It's really hectic. I've been having a hard time keeping up as it is. So I'm going to go ahead and move to every 2 weeks right now. We'll see how that goes. And maybe by the end of the year, I can get back up to a weekly. Maybe I'll post a bonus video every once in a while. But either way it goes, I really appreciate all of you guys. Almost to 2,000 subscribers now. And that's awesome. Anyway, thanks for watching.